Good day, lords and ladies, knights and peasants, and welcome to Medieval Knights. I am TJ West, and you can follow my channel off camera by visiting the links in the description below, or by joining me on a live stream. My stream times are posted here, and I would love for you to join me, so without further delay, let's get to the good part. Welcome back to my What the Flax Season 2, Episode 2. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a different episode. So right here you can see I have an excavation hut. It's outside of a cave. I don't have a mine there. And in all actuality, my mine is actually over on this peak here. But this is just to show you the excavation hut in all of its glory, basically. And now what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to pull up the excavation hut's management tab and show you what exactly it does. Because there's been a lot of confusion as far as the excavation shed to the mine and then the caves, and I really just felt like I needed to upload a What the Flax that basically goes through the differences. So the cave is actually physically the geographical location of a resource spot. So this here is stone deposit. This is where you will get iron from. You can also get salt from it and rock. But that's pretty much it. So on these stones out here, outside of the cave, like right here, you can actually get limestone, rock, and salt, but no iron. And then obviously clay is in the clay pits that are, well, there's one about right over here somewhere, and they're just basically placed all over the place. They look like smeared brown stains on the ground that kind of lump up like a rock, and you just use a shovel and, well, dig it up. You dig up the clay, literally. So you can have people set to the excavation hut and they will actually produce that for you. So I will go into the management tab now that we've gone over the difference between a cave and everything else. And okay, so here's the excavation shed. Now if you click over here on this hammer with the circle here, you can actually see what all it can produce. So the goods here tells you what you can choose for your excavation hut to bring home. And then this here is going to show you what it's going to produce per hour, depending on the number of workers you have here. Now I have 0 here. I don't have anybody placed here to work it just right now. I wasn't in need of stones and I needed to move that person somewhere else, so I did. So as of right now, I have nobody at the excavation hut, but you can see from here what all actually is gathered from the excavation hut. And then from here you can see with the amount of workers you have there and their total combined worker skill power, what they're actually going to produce hourly. So this is not what they will actually produce hourly. This is almost like a multiplier. And then this is the actual production every hour. So with that being said, that was the excavation hut. Now we're gonna go ahead and move on over to the mine, so I can get an explanation of that done, and that'll kind of show everybody the difference that I'm speaking towards. So as you can see there, the excavation hut only produces rock, limestone, clay, and salt. It does not produce iron. So if you are putting up the excavation hut in the hopes that you will basically get some iron out of it, I'm sorry to say at this point in time you will not, and that is not the correct building that you need. Now we are heading over to the correct building now, so I'll meet you over at the mine. Okay, we should be getting close now. I did a stream, and on that stream, I had actually placed this mine in it. I was just in the general area, and viewers from the stream were like, hey, there's a mine close by, you could put one there. And so I went ahead and did that. I mean, I was close there anyway, and I had all the things I needed. But now it's a trick of actually finding the mine. There it is. Okay, so as you can see, the excavation hut didn't actually sit inside the cave, but the mine can only be placed inside the cave. And you can tell it's the mine because this chest here has iron in it, salt, and stone. So the resource storage filled up, and he started putting things in this chest instead. And this mine is pretty much the same way. I'm going to go ahead and go through and just walk through the whole mine real quick. Now, the longer you have a mine there, the longer the tunnels actually get. So, or supposedly. Now, I have reached the bottom of one of these before, but I haven't had the mine up long enough to actually increase where it goes. So this is actually a really cool one here. We actually got way deep down into the ground there. There's a lot of iron that can be harvested here. As you can see, all of these are going to have at least between 0 to 4 or 5 iron, I believe. And yeah, see. So it looks like it's even getting ready to spread out up to there, unless that's another entryway into the mine. It's possible. It's entirely possible. Not too sure how the developers did that or planned on doing that, whether they wanted the mines to actually connect underground or not. But we'll check this side, and this might just be the loop around where it connects at. Because it does seem to go up. It seemed to go up. So we're just checking, yeah. And so I can jump down there from here to get to the bottom of that section of the mine. Or I could just mine the rocks up here. But as you can see, they are not infinite. The caves become, well, they're always finite. But they get bigger as your mine is placed. Like as your miners are working it, the mine will actually expand. So, what does the mine actually do that is different from the excavation hut? Well, to show that, I'm going to come back. I don't want the rain. We're going to go in here. We're going to try to get rid of that rain sound. All right, we're going to pull up the map, the management tab, go over to the house here. We're going to go down to the mine. Now, I'm going to do this back to back. We're going to talk about the mine first, and then we'll go back to the excavation shed, and then the mine, and then the excavation shed, and that should be about good, I would think. So, the mine, I do have a worker here. I have him mining iron and rock for me right now, as you can tell by this tab here. He's actually mining all of it, but I don't need him to do salt right now. We don't actually have any salted meats or salted fish going on. We just aren't in the process of crafting that. So we don't need the salt. But as you can see, the mine typically only produces rock, salt, and iron. It does not produce limestone, and it does not produce clay. So here you could tell what he's producing per hour. So stone, he's getting 6 per hour, and iron 1.5 per hour. That's with this percentage what he's making. Now, if there was another worker here, it would be more. It would be 6 per hour, but over here would be more because there would be more workers, which means more skill points up here to use. So his worker skill power is now 5 in extraction. That's up from 3, so it is very possible for them to level up their skill points as they're working, you know, those jobs. And I think I've only had him here maybe a year, but he was a logger before that. So he worked in one of my woodsheds before that. So with that being said, the mine is not the cave. The mine is actually physically the building. There. That is the mine. This is the cave. So that's the difference between those two. Now, once a mine is placed inside of a cave, I feel it's typical that people start referring to the cave as a mine. Just because back in the day, miners would work at the mine, they wouldn't work at the cave. You know what I mean? It's just one of those technical, like, speech things where as soon as you place the building, the cave turns from a cave into a mine. I'm not sure how that works in other languages and how it, like, correlates with other countries and whatnot, but that's just what I have noticed happening with people. As soon as they place the mine building inside the cave, the whole cave becomes then the mine, quote unquote. So, that is the mine. We showed you the excavation hut earlier, and I can actually throw a picture of that in here afterwards if needed. If somebody comments below after this episode and they're like, hey, I don't understand. Why does the mine look like the excavation hut? Then you can either fast forward to the beginning or let me know in the comments, and I can either add in a separate episode that shows like 2 different ones side by side or what have you. So here's the excavation shed. We'll go through this again. This gets rock, limestone, salt, and clay only. It does not produce iron. And at the same sense, the mine will only produce rock, iron, and salt. It will not produce limestone and clay. So it is wise to have both buildings until everything is upgraded. And then once you have everything insulated and upgraded with limestone or daub, at that point in time, you can remove the excavation shed, especially if everything is where you need it or where you want it to go for your final build. Then you can eliminate the excavation shed, only use the mine, have him getting rock, iron, salt, so that way you can make salted meats, salted fish. I mean, I guess that would be salted meats. And then rock for building rock walls or what have you, iron for building tools and weapons and stuff. So at one point in time in the game, there may be a point where you're like, hey, I have too many buildings because the building max is 30 currently. And as far as I'm aware, there won't be an update to remove it anytime soon. They kind of need to figure out what their end game is going to be. So more quests, more time means more building limit. So at this point in time, it's just not possible. Right now, we are at the max on my stream file, which is the one we are playing now, the one I decided to use to explain all this. And just to go over it one more time, for those in the back that didn't get it, here's the excavation shed. The excavation shed only produces rock, limestone, salt, and clay. If you look over here, you can tell how much they will produce per hour based on the workforce, what percentage of power you're putting towards it, and then the output total. Furthermore, wrong button, I only needed to hit that once. The mine here will only produce rock, iron, and salt based on the percentage of power you give to them, the percentage of power available to them based on the worker skill power and how many workers you have, and then their total output per hour. And over here you can see stone, salt, iron, 6 per hour, 0 per hour, because I have 0% working towards salt. So 0 per hour, and then 1.5 per hour because I have 30% working towards iron. So this is only 70%. Now let's see what happens when I raise the iron up. So now we're at 2 per hour. Now we're at 2.5. And then we'll raise the stone up to 50%. Now if I go over here, you'll see it's the same thing. This really only matters when you have more than one worker assigned. So his skill power plus the other guy's skill power will end up going here, and then it'll be this, how much percentage of that is actually being used for each individual good, and then the total production. This would be the multiplication problem, the solution to it, the result of it here. So if you really want to know how much you're producing every hour based on that building, I would come to this here, production. Alright, so that is the excavation shed, that is the mine, and that is the cave. That is a brief explanation over all three of them, just to kind of show new players and even, experienced players that might be having problems finding rock, or finding limestone, or finding iron, and they can't figure out why their mine isn't producing it. It's because it doesn't produce it. You have to build the excavation hut, get what you need, destroy that, and then build what you need. It's kind of a headache, but that's the reason why there are two different mining buildings. So you have the excavation hut and the mine. So with that being said, this has been my What the Flax Season 2, Episode 2, Excavation Hut versus Mine. Thank you for joining me. I really hope this episode was helpful. If you felt it was helpful, please don't forget to leave a like, drop a comment. If you have any further questions or any other ideas, you can hit me up on Discord as far as future What the Flax episodes, as well as you can find me on Facebook. All links are posted in the description below. Thank you for joining me. This has been TJ West and What the Flax, and let's keep it medieval, people.